option one, so for people who usually take the first option, option one would be to lay back on your blocks. I'm going to set it up like this. So this block is going to go here, and this block is going to go under the head. Option two, and this is a deeper opening. So if you have more of a sore back or tighter hips, don't take option two. Option two will be standing up. Similar thing. So this time the block will go this way, and then the block will come here. So your head is supported both times, or both options. One's just a little bit taller, so a deeper opening. So I would suggest starting off smaller, starting off with option one, see how that feels, and then maybe next time option two would be for you. So, making your way down. The bottom of the block is kind of just below the shoulder blades, where the band of a bra would be. If you wear such things. And then if you have tighter hips, once again, bending the knees, keeping the knees bent, feet on the floor. The head is supported by the block. Open up the arms, so find something comfortable where your elbows touch the ground. Draw those shoulder blades down the spine so the shoulders are away from the ears. And then if it's comfortable for you, you can release your legs down, but just see where you are. Maybe halfway you would do that. So let's be here while we find our grounding, while we find our breath. Using that breath to slowly allow the chest to open and release. Allow the neck to be slightly open, head is supported. Breathing down into the belly. And just starting to become aware of your bodies. You're connecting in with yourself, connecting with the mat. If your feet are on the floor, just noticing your feet. Spread the feet out. Take a moment to lift the toes and let them come back to the mat. Allow the mat to be evenly on your feet, so evenly across all the pressure points. Notice where your hips connect with the mat. Can you allow your hips to become a little bit heavier? Can you allow your shoulders to become a little bit heavier? Allowing the blocks and the mat to fully support your weight. If you're someone who likes something to focus on, inhaling and counting to 4, exhaling and counting to 4. As you breathe here, becoming aware of your jaw. So is it clenched? Is the tongue stuck to the roof of the mouth? Allow it to open slightly. Allow the tongue to come away from the roof of the mouth. Perhaps the eyes close. Softening the eyebrows. Noticing if you're holding tension in your cheekbones, and the muscles around the cheeks and the eyes. See if you can soften. We'll be here for a few more breaths. So noticing that urge, if you find it, that you may want to get out of this pose, you may want to move on. See if you can practice being still for just a little bit longer. If at any point it becomes comfortable to straighten the legs onto the mat, happen. Lengthening the breath just a little bit more here. So if you were counting to 4, perhaps bringing it to 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, whatever you have space for. I'm going to prepare to come off the block. So if your legs are extended, bend the knees and place the feet back on the ground. There's no real graceful way to do this, but you can just roll onto one side, roll off the blocks, or slowly take them away from yourself. Place them out to the side, and then you're going to make your way back onto your back. Back onto your back. Nice and slowly. So notice how that feels. Stay for a couple of breaths here as the spine sets back into place. Take the head from side to side. Let's release the neck. I like to do this with my hands down by my side, palms face down. Massaging up the back of the head. Go one more time on each side, but a little bit slower, letting the ear perhaps come all the way down if it reaches. And taking it to the other side. Allowing the ear to touch on this side if you can. And bringing it back to center. We're going to reverse that pose just by bringing the knees into the chest. Allow the hips to kind of wiggle away, create some length in the spine. And then just gently rocking from side to side. I like to feel like I'm squishing the top corners of the hips into the mat, kind of massaging them in. And we'll just do this a couple more times on each side. Perhaps going a little further each time, perhaps coming into a little bit of a twist when you're in it, and then going to the other side. So just making it a little bigger. We'll bring it back to center. Clasp your hands around your right knee and just extend that left leg long. Stretch that knee towards the chest or towards the outer edge of the body while you press that opposite heel away. Keep pressing that heel away until your leg touches the ground or comes as close as you can find it. We're going to circle that right ankle. Anchoring down through that opposite heel, and then switch directions with that ankle. Relax those shoulders. Bring that knee back to center and switch sides. Left knee comes towards the chest or towards the outside of the body, whatever feels better. Press that opposite heel away, finding length in that leg. Hold where you can and then circle the ankle. Circling the other direction if you haven't already. And then take both knees into the chest when you're ready. So you can grab onto the ankles by bringing the hands in between the knees. Grabbing the ankles, pull them towards the body and let the knees open wide. Or that's option 1. Option 2 would be happy baby. So you grab onto your big toes with your index finger and middle finger. And you can start to press the knees towards the underarms as the feet come towards the ceiling. So it's like you're in a squat, but on your back. So perhaps you're somewhere in the middle, just finding what's more comfortable. Holding here for a breath. We'll release the legs. Roll into your stomach when you're ready. Take your time. And we'll bring the hands under the shoulders. Take a moment to stretch the legs away. So we're going to stretch the toes away. Create some length there. Hands under the shoulders. Draw those shoulders down and back. Inhale, gently press into the mat. Baby cobra, reach those toes away. Gaze at the top of your mat. Hold for a breath. Exhale, bring it all the way back down. This time we're coming into awkward cobra. So the elbows are up in the air, kind of making an M with the arms. Fingertips on the mat. So your fingers are just under the elbows this time. Just notice how that might feel in the forearms, wherever you might find that tension. As you inhale, slowly peel those shoulders back again. As you exhale, gaze over to the right elbow. Stay for a breath here. Bring that gaze to center. Lower it back down. On your next inhale, bring it back up. Inhale, draw those shoulders back. Gaze over to the left elbow this time. Hold that gaze for a breath. Fingertips are in the mat, tented fingers. Bring the gaze back to center. Exhale, lower down. This time, take the hands down by the hips. Palms are facing the hips. Reach those arms down by the legs. So you have the option, that's option one. Option two would be to take the hands together behind your back. Point your fingers away. Inhale, whichever one you choose, peel it back up. Reach those arms back and away. Gazing at the top of your arm. Now see if you can soften your glutes. We have a tendency to squeeze our cheeks here. Try to release them. Exhale, release. Place the hands in the mat again, and this time press back into child's pose, or your version of child's pose. So the heels come towards, and the sit bones come towards the heels. Arms come out in front of you. We're going to walk those arms over to the right and take a nice big breath into the left side of the body. As you exhale, take it to the other side. Pause for a breath here. And bring it back to center. Going to come into tabletop position. Activate those shoulders. And we'll come into our sunbird variation. So when you're ready, shoulders are nice and strong and engaged. Knees are under the hips. Now you have the option to just do the legs, or you can add legs and arms. So we'll start first by extending the right leg straight back. So if that feels like enough, stay there. If you want to add the opposite arm, the left arm will come straight out in front of you. Reach back through the heel, reach those fingertips forward. Engage that shoulder that's supporting the arm that's supporting the body. Exhale, lower both back down. Let's try the other side. Extend the left leg, reach the heel back. Create length here, activate both shoulders, gaze at the top of your mat. If this feels like enough, stay here. Otherwise, add the opposite arm. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale, release. Bring the left arm to center. Right arm reaches open. Over to the right, let the hips move with you. We'll go from side to side here, so just flow with your body. Feel this in your own body. Right arm's coming to center, left arm's reaching open to the left. Up towards the ceiling. Exhale, switch. We'll do it one more time on each side, just moving at your own pace. Listening to those shoulders. Inhale as you open. Exhale as you bring it back to center. For the last round, we're going to switch it up. So inhale towards the right side. As you exhale, this right arm is going to come behind the left arm. And you're going to come to rest on your right shoulder and the right side of your face. You can keep that left hand on the mat. That's option one. Option two would be to place it on the small of your back. Stay for a couple of breaths here. If your hips are shifting to one side, that's perfectly fine. One more breath here. And we'll place that left hand back on the mat. Press yourself back up. Right hand comes back on the mat as well. This time, the left arm reaches open to the ceiling, twist to the left. As you exhale, take it under and come to left, rest on the left shoulder and the left side of the cheek. So the right hand can be in front of you, supporting you, or you can place it on the small of your back. So the arms reaching straight up from the shoulder, across the body, yeah. Stay for a couple of breaths here. So we're stretching in and around the shoulder blade. If you're wondering why we're in this funny position. Right arm comes down to the mat. Press yourself back up. All right, before we move out of tabletop position, let's come into sunbird all the way here. So you can just move the legs or add the arms. So we did a bit of a warm up right before that pose. So let's start again with the right side. I'm going to reach my right leg back. And if you choose to add the arm, the left arm will come forward. As you exhale, elbow to knee are going to touch. You're going to press into that supporting arm, round through the back, create space, tap them if they reach. Maybe they don't, that's okay. Inhale, bring it back out. We'll go for 5 of those. As you exhale, they come towards one another. As they inhale, they come out. As you inhale, they come out. Press into that supportive arm to create that space. The shoulder's active, so we're not sinking into that arm that's supporting us. Whew. Of course, the slower you go, the harder it is. But the more stabilizing muscles you recruit. Inhale as you reach. Exhale so you can move that diaphragm out of the way so the elbow and knee can get closer to touching. Go for 1 more. Bring them back to the mat. Find child's pose before we come to the other side. As those arms reach out in front of you, lock those the shoulders back and in. So engaging those shoulders, drawing them back as you reach those hands onto the mat. When you're ready, bring it back up to tabletop and let's switch sides. Find your balance first. Extend the left leg back. Right arm if you choose to add it. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it in. Really round through that spine to make space. Gaze at that mat, the top of the mat in front of you, and then gaze towards the knee. Going for 3 more. Nice, balancing everyone. Really exhale to bring it in. So many things to think about, but try not to lock that elbow that's supporting you. See if you can keep a little bit of a bend to it. Just like a micro bend. Go for 1 more. Finish by reaching it back out and bringing hand and knee back in. I'm going to tuck the toes under and sit back into a toe squat. So if you need to use your fingers to make sure all the toes are tucking, unless you have a weird like peanut baby toe like I do, that one doesn't tuck. We'll get the rest of them to tuck. And then you can come to sit up, or you can keep your fingers on the mat for a little less pressure. So listen to your body here. All feet go through different things in a day. Nice. If you are up and you want a little more movement, we're going to bring the arms up. And as you exhale, draw the elbows down towards the sides of the body. So really pull. Inhale, bring it in. We'll just keep doing that motion. So we're activating the backward pull of those shoulders to open up the chest. If you've been at a computer or doing hair all day or anything like that, it's nice to reverse that forward motion. We're basically just living as a human. So knowing you can come out of this at any time, I'm going to go for one more. See if you can soften the feet a little bit more here. Exhale, bring it down. Nice. If you're ready to release those toes, come forward on the hands and just tap the tops of your feet out. Okay, when you're ready, we'll come into downward facing dog. So you can take those hands at palm's length ahead, tuck the toes, and send those hips up and back. Take a moment to find your positioning here. You can pedal out one heel and then the other. Keeping those fingers spread nice and wide. Staying with that breath. We'll go for one more on each side. And then bring those legs to stillness. Bend the knees deeply. Really grip those hands. We're going to take the right leg up towards the ceiling. Gaze forward between your hands. We're going to step that leg all the way through and find low lunge. Drop the back knee. And if you have your blocks, they can be nice to use for extra support here. The back knee is on a bit of an angle. And then I like to slide forward just so I'm off the kneecap. Gazing forward, so again, we're opening the chest. So if you are using your blocks, you can always bring them to their tallest point. Bring the shoulders back, open up to the chest. Even lift the chin slightly. Stay for 2 breaths like this. I'm going to walk it back for a hamstring stretch. So send the hips back, straighten out the front leg. I'm walking my blocks back with me. I'm going to walk my blocks forward a little bit and take a little bow forward. It's like a micro bow. Flexing that foot so the toes are pointing up. Nice. Now also see if you can soften that kneecap a little bit. Stay for one more breath here. And as you exhale, start to come back into your lunge. Move the blocks to the top of the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Press it back. Inhale the left leg up to the ceiling. Gaze forward and step it through. So this motion takes practice. If you feel awkward doing it, that's okay. Just make your way to low lunge. Use those blocks for support. Bring them back just in front of the hips. Relax the shoulders, open the chest. Find a couple of breaths here. You can even lift the chin slightly. As you exhale, send the hips back, straighten the front leg. Point the toes and then walk those blocks back for support. Option to also walk the blocks forward a little bit and take a bit of a bow towards that leg. Let the kneecap go. And stay for one more breath. Nice modifications, everyone. As you exhale, bring it back to that low lunge. Shift the hips forward. Take one more breath here. And then step back to your downward facing dog. Stretch it back. Gaze forward, bend the knees, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, find that flat back. Draw those shoulder blades back. Gaze past the top of your mat. Exhale, fold and soften the back, soften the knees, kind of just hanging forward a little bit. Inhale, straighten the legs, straighten the back, halfway lift. Exhale again, soften the knees, soften the back, rolling the upper body forward. As you exhale, bend the knees deeply so you're sitting back into a chair. Reach those arms up and press to standing. Exhale, bring the hands down through center. Standing at the top of your mat. Take a big step back with your right leg, find warrior two. So big bend in the front leg. Open up those arms. And then open up the palms. And then we'll just do that back and forth. Palms down, palms up. Rotating at the shoulders. Keep that big bend in the front knee. Drop the back arm, lift the top arm, find exalted warrior. Keep bending that front knee, reach it up. As you exhale, bring it forward, extended side angle, front elbow to front knee. Keep that bend. Back arm comes back, or it can come all the way over the ear. Nice. Now that shoulder that's down here, press it away from the ear, so press it down. Exhale, bring it all the way back up. Keep the knee where it is. You're going to point that back toe forward slightly. Send the arms behind your back. So you can stay here, option one. Option two, keep that deep bend in the knee. Bow the chest forward to the inside of the knee. Nice. And if you can make it all the way back up, go for it. Bring the arms back out. Let's step to the top of the mat. Try that on the other side. So we're going to step back with the left. Yes, step back with the left leg. Find your warrior two. Reach those arms out. Open up the shoulders. Gaze up towards the ceiling. And just go open and closed a couple times. As you open the palms this time, bring the arms back behind you just for a little stretch here. And bring them back up. Drop the back arm, lift the top arm, exalted warrior. So you're just lifting the chest towards the ceiling, kind of opening up the chest. As you exhale, switching it, bring the elbow to the knee. And the back arm can stay where it is, or it can come up and over. Keep that bend going. Whew. Inhale, bring it all the way back up. You take the arms behind you. If you can't clasp them, just point them back behind you. Point your back toes forward slightly. Bend in that front knee. Reach the arms back behind you. Option one. Option two is just keep that bend and bow forward. Gazing at the ground in front of you. Reaching those arms back. Hopefully your mat is nice and sticky. When you're ready, bring it all the way back. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, step back with your right leg and find high lunge. Reach those arms up. So we're doing the opposite of what we did last time. So instead of a closed twist, we're going to do an open twist. So in that high lunge, bring those arms in front of you, straight up from the shoulders, lift the chin slightly. Left arm stays where it is, right arm goes up and back. So it's an open twist. Bring it back in front of you so you can move the torso with the arm. We'll do that 3 times. Up and back. And closed. Just Just following a pace that suits you. Last one. And close. And this time draw the left arm down by the shoulder, or sorry, the left arm down by the hip. Right arm comes up and over. So by the ear and up. Keep a nice deep bend in the front leg. Bring it back to center. Exhale, bring the hands down, step back into plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, find your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze forward, bend the knees, step to the top. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend deeply, reach up to stand. Exhale, hands down through center. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, dive forward. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. This time stepping back with the left leg for high lunge. Sweep those arms up. Draw them down through center. And reach them straight out in front of you. So right arm, right knee. This time the left arm's going to come open and back. Nice and slowly. And we'll do that 3 times. So just go at your own pace, listening to that shoulder. Allow the torso to move with the twist. And for that last one when it comes. And this time the right arm's going to come down by the hip, the left arm's going to reach up. You can stay like this, or you can reach over to the right. So we're trying to stretch the left side body here. Bring it back to center. Bring your hands down. Step back into plank. And lower the knees or lower all the way down here. Engage through the shoulders, nice strong shoulders. Exhale, lower down. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, find your child's pose. You can take the knees a little wider this time, whatever feels good here. Stay for a couple of breaths. From here, option 1 is to take the hands behind the back or just straight back behind you. So if they clasp, you can clasp them. If they don't, just reach them back. Option 2, if it's okay for your neck, is to clasp, as well as to gently roll onto the top of your head, into the knees, so you're on your knees and you're on the top of your head, and the arms are reaching back. Light pressure on the head here. Nice strong neck. Stay for a breath. Exhale, let it come back down to child's. Release the arms, bring them out in front of you. Reach those arms out in front of you, bring the shoulders over the hands. Exhale, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, reach those toes back, find your baby cobra. Exhale, reach the arms out in front of you, lower the chin down to the mat. Karate chop arms. So pinky edge down. Engage those shoulders here. We're going to reach the left toes back and hover them a couple inches off the ground and hover the right arm off the ground. You can gaze forward with your neck or your head to keep your neck in line. Exhale, lower and switch sides. Bit of a swim here. Hovering opposite leg and hand, but pressing that supporting arm into the mat, so active shoulder. And switch. And switch. And switch. One more time for each side. So just going at your own pace here. Really reach them away from each other. Stretch longer, stretch longer, stretch longer. And release, last one. And release. So the next pose we're going to come into is pigeon pose. We're going to come in through downward facing dog with one leg up. If you know pigeon pose isn't for you, if you have knee issues or hip issues, you might like to take figure 4 position on your back, ankle over knee. You might even like to take it sitting up like this. So that's another option, or this is a good time to do any pose you like if you don't want to do pigeon. So if you are coming through pigeon, come through your downward facing dog. We'll start with the right side, just because it's easier for me to remember. Right leg up to the ceiling. Gaze forward. We're going to step that knee through, and we're going to place the knee behind the right wrist. If you were super flexible, you would have kind of a right angle with the leg, but that's not really the case. So the knee is up, the ankle is down slightly. Release the back leg. And find your stretch here. And if you have a block and you want to slide it under the right sit bone for a little extra support, go for it. Or you can come into a reclined pigeon so your arms are down on the mat. So if you come into pigeon, it's not for you. If it's not for your knee, your other option is to either come onto one hip, lean forward, or come into more of a seated version where there's less pressure on the knee. Those are your options, just staying where you like to be here for a few breaths. Notice if you are in the pigeon on the mat, facing the mat, if your hips are coming to one side, and see what it feels like to bring them back to center. Staying for a couple more breaths. Being aware of where the mind might be drifting off to, and see if you can gently guide it back to your body. Notice the sensations. Can you bring the breath all the way down to your lower belly, even to the groin, just soften. We're going to make our way to the other side, so you can do so on your own, or if you're in this pigeon pose, bring your hands to the mat, gently press the upper body up. Take a little breath here as you reach away from the hips, and you can switch sides any way you like. I like to tuck the back toe and come back into downward facing dog. Stretch it back, and then this time we'd be lifting the left leg up and sending it through. Another way that's nice to use the block is to place it under the forehead. Just on the eyebrows. Just that ocular pressure point that can be a little bit soothing for headaches, but it can also feel a little bit nervy. Making your way into the other side, so whatever option you choose. Find that breath. So where were you with your count? If you're at 4, 5, 6, inhaling for that number, exhaling for that number. Just giving your mind something to focus on. for 2 more breaths here if you can. Whenever you're ready, coming out of this position, I'm going to place my hands back on the mat, press my upper body up, and stay here for a moment. If you were doing the downward dog thing, let's come back to downward dog. If you're in a different position, just stay seated. And we'll make our way into seated. One more chest opener before we wrap things up. So on your knees, and just something to try. It's not for everyone. I didn't like this pose for many years, but we have our blocks here. So you can come on your knees if that's okay for you. Place them behind you. And I have them in the portrait position. No, I don't. Landscape position. Holding on to them. Bringing the hands behind the shoulders. And just gently lifting the chest open. So this is something you could do without the blocks. The blocks just meet you halfway. Gently opening up the chin. So you can stay like this if this feels easy and you want to try option 2. I will offer it just because, why not? In an upright position, so you're on your knees, up a little taller, and you bring the blocks behind you. So this is something that could hurt your lower back if you have a stiff lower back, so just stick with option 1 if that's you. Going back to option 1, staying for 1 more breath. Exhale, release the chest, release the blocks, and come to seated. So you can sit on one of your blocks or sit on the mat, whatever feels better, and we'll just do a little bit more release work with the band or the strap. Bring it up over the head. And I'm just going to take my right arm down. And I'm using this gentle pull just to open up in the arm. So I'm relaxing this top arm and I'm letting the strap do all of the work. So I'm looking for a stretch kind of in my shoulder, my underarm, wherever you might be feeling it. I'm going to go from side to side so I don't get too uncomfortable on one side. So again, just using the strap to open up the arm. You don't really have to do anything. And once you start to feel a little too much tension in your other shoulder blade, if you do, just bring it to the other side. We'll do it one more time on each side. Trying to keep the chest open here, opening up through the neck. Last one. Bring it back to center. We're going to bring the strap behind us. So open it as much as you need to bring it back safely, but slowly. Hold it down at the bottom and then bring it back up. One more time. And back up. And we'll release the strap and we'll just stay here for a moment in a short meditation. So if your legs are crossed one way, cross them the other way. Switch it up for the brain. Send those sit bones back, the knee part back. Sit up nice and tall. Relax those shoulders. Elevate the chin slightly. And before we close class, just noticing the sit bones on the mat. Allowing the crown of the head to root out from the hips. So find a nice tall seat, even leaning back slightly. See if you can send the breath down to the belly. Soften the belly, let it go. Drop that right ear to the right shoulder. As you exhale, take the head down and around. Left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, rise the chin up all the way towards the ceiling. Press that chin away. And bring it level. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, gently draw them down through center between the brows. Bowing forward. Closing up our practice with one last breath, inhaling and allowing yourself to sigh it out, make sound. We'll do that 2 more times.